Hello and welcome to another episode of 2 Minutes with Tim here on Heavenward Thinking. Today we're continuing on in James chapter 4. We're going to be looking at verses 8 through 10, so I'll read it and we'll get right into this week's challenge. Come near to God and he will come near to you. Wash your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. Grieve, mourn, and wail. Change your laughter to mourning and your joy to gloom. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. Last week we talked about the idea of submitting ourselves to God and resisting the enemy. We've been looking at James chapter 4 for the past few weeks here on 2 Minutes with Tim, trying to understand this concept of submitting ourselves to God, being different, and getting on the right track with that. And James gives us some different ideas, some different concepts that we have to apply to our daily lives. This week we see the idea of we have to draw near to God. It implies effort on our behalf. We have to actually do something with Jesus. He made a way for us through his death and resurrection, but we need to take the opportunity that he's given us, that great gift of salvation. We have to then do something with it. We can't just take it for granted and then do whatever we want with our lives. We have to continually, daily draw near to God. We do that through prayer, through understanding and reading more of his word. That's how we're drawing closer to God. And then we see here that we need to purify ourselves. We are sinful, we are wicked by human nature, but through Jesus we can be purified. And so that daily time with God, that daily drawing closer to God throughout each aspect of our lives, it leads us towards that purification process where we become more like Jesus and less like our sinful human selves. Then we see in the last verse here, in verse 10, that we need to have humility. It goes right hand in hand with what we talked about last week, with being submissive to God and submitting to him. Here we have to humble ourselves before the Lord. We need to realize that he is perfect, we are not, that he is God, and we aren't, and we need to give him the glory in our lives and give him control of our lives, and then at the right time he's going to lift us up. If we try to elevate ourselves, the Bible tells us we're going to be humbled, but if we humble ourselves, we're going to be exalted by God in his timing and in his way. And that's what we want to think about and be challenged with this week, is this idea of drawing near to God, purifying ourselves, becoming more like Jesus, and then having humility each day as we recognize who our God is and who we are inside of God. That's my challenge for you this week, and I hope that you'll join us next time for another episode of 2 Minutes with Tim here on Heavenward Thinking.